the public and do presentations within the community to share information about the reappraisal program. You were all instrumental in that process, and I think it was a big benefit to the public. We've done over 20 community meetings within the last 6 weeks, and we've just tried to reach out and provide good and solid information to property owners about what they need to do if they believe we have an inaccuracy or a problem with our value, or if they just have a simple question. There are two things that I wanted to remind the public of. One is that we're currently accepting informal review requests online or by phone. They can submit those by going to our website. You can get there through nashville.gov or by calling 862-6059. The deadline to file an informal review is May the 17th, which is this Friday. So it's important that if people want to do that, they get that done this week. We'll be accepting appeals to the Metro Board of Equalization beginning on May the 20th, and the deadline for them to file appeals to the Metro Board is June the 21st. So that's a very critical deadline. If they do not file by June the 21st, there's a chance that they will lose their appeal rights. So there's a good chance they'll lose their appeal rights. So we don't want anybody to do that. We want everybody who has a question or concern to have an opportunity to be heard. And then one final thing I just wanted to mention, which is just really bragging a little bit on our staff, which is a great, well-qualified staff. They do a wonderful job. But we submitted an application to the International Association of Assessing Officers last year for a program called the Certificate of Excellence in Assessment Administrations. It's a designation for the assessor's office itself. And we were granted that designation in September of last year. We were the first jurisdiction in Tennessee to receive it and the 15th in the country. So, and now we're playing an integral part of working with IAAO to expand that program across the country and share our best practices with everyone else. And again, with that statement, I'll just be happy to take any questions that you have about the budget or whatever you're allowed to ask.
Congratulations, Mr. Rooker. Councilman Tiger.
Thank you, George. Let me just make sure, if a citizen has submitted an informal request, but they haven't heard back from you yet, they don't lose their right to appeal if they disagree with what your findings are.
Yes, if the informal review request is submitted currently, or if it's submitted by the end of this week, we will send out a notice in the mail by the end of this month telling them what the result of that review is, and then they'll have an opportunity to appeal to the Metro Board from there. If they didn't file a review request at all, they still have the right to appeal directly to the Metro Board. Right. And you had a question earlier about emailing notifications, and we're in the process of, actually we sponsored some legislation this year in the legislature to assessment notices are required to be mailed by U.S. mail. We had legislation that would pass this year that will allow us in the future to actually email those notices out if people choose to do that.
The law does not require appeals to be filed. We can file those electronically.
You can file appeals electronically, but we have to notify you.
But you still,
by paper.
That's why you're having to send us a paper trail back. Correct. Rather than answer us electronically.
Right, which is what we intend to do in the future. When you go online and file an appeal, we intend to be able to enable a discussion with you online and to notify you of the results online.
Gotcha. Okay. New business comes and goes to the county clerk to sign up for a business license. What communication or what is the process that would trigger you all to start a Schedule B personal property?
We get a list of every business license that's taken out on a monthly basis, and then we create a tentative personal property account for those businesses, which automatically generates a tax Schedule B going out, or us to confirm that business actually goes into business. As you know, many people take out business licenses that never actually go into business. So, but we do set them up as a tentative account so we can confirm that they either go into business or don't.
Do you, or I guess it would fall on your jurisdiction, do you have the manpower to research existing business tax licenses? I have clients who, to my knowledge, have an existing business tax license but do not file a personal property statement.
Yes, we do. In fact, that should be done on a routine basis as of today, but if there's an issue there, we need to look into that and see why there's a disconnect, if there is one. We also contract with a company called Tax Management Associates that does our book audit program, and they have a discovery program that we participate in that they use multiple sources to find businesses that are active well beyond business licenses and provide us with those lists every year. So we try to get everything on the roll. I'm sure there are some things that slip through the cracks, but we're trying to find ways to prevent that.
Okay. And final question, the drop in your communications budget from last year to this year, I assume is due to the reappraisal
Assessment notices.
process?
Yes,
Okay.
that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Tiger. Council Lady Berry.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Mr. Rooker, for being here. I have a quick question, and perhaps I've missed it, but you could take a moment to explain the increase in the total budgeted positions from this year, 123 to 152. It seems like a large jump.
That is a reflection of the fact that we're conducting hearings this year, and we use hearing officers to conduct those hearings. And if we have a hearing officer that comes in and conducts one hearing over 1 hour, that counts as a position.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So-
And so that number will go down again after this?
Correct.
Okay.
And if you look at the FTEs, that's really a better reflection of what we're actually seeing in terms of increase in staff.
Okay. That's very helpful. I was actually really impressed that you were reducing your budget and adding 20 people.
Yeah, they're all part-time people that don't work a lot of hours.
Thanks.
Thank you, Council Lady Berry. Council Lady Moore.
This is just a follow-up from Councilman Tiger's question. Do you all have a quick fact sheet? I know that when you all send out those notices, it's in there, but someone may have a hard time reading that information. Is there a quick fact sheet just to say, the total process of trying to know when the deadlines are for what you need to do? And then there was something else that you mentioned about if they are not satisfied with what the results, and they can go to the Metro Board. I don't remember seeing that on that form, on that pamphlet that you sent out, but is there something that you can...
There's a pamphlet, obviously, that you're referring to that's in the notice. There's also the notice itself. And the notice itself is intended to contain the information for the summary, deadlines, and the basic information that you need to actually navigate through the system appropriately. So that's what that information is on both the notice and the brochure. So that is hopefully adequate, but we're willing to consider anything.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Council Lady Moore. Council Lady Langston.
Did you call me?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Rooker, I have to give you all honor and praise because you came out to the 21st District at Hadley Park and you went beyond the call of duty. Not only did you present to a 1 o'clock session, you agreed to come back and do a 5:30 session. You did 2 sessions in one day, and I want you to know that the constituents and I really, really appreciate your presence, Ms. Amy Raines, as well as Mr. Patton. And I think you will agree with me that the room, every chair was filled for both sessions. But thank you so much. I really appreciate your extra effort, sir.
Well, thank you, and we did have 2 good meetings with a lot of people who had a lot of great questions, and that's why we want to get out and do these kind of meetings.
Well, seeing no other council members in queue, Mr. Rooker and Mr. Diaz-Barriga, I want to thank you all for coming, and this concludes your department's hearing.
Thank you.
Thank you.